Science fiction, to me, it isn't just a genre of storytelling. It's probably the closest I've ever come to being part of an organized religion. For me, science fiction is sacred and holy. I've had this stuff basically spoon fed to me since I was a kid. My parents would indulge every interest I had with books and movies and toys. Not saying I was spoiled or anything, but they could see that it was important that I continue to fill my head with anything remotely scientific, especially because I was doing it on my own free will, and it was outside of the classroom. It may seem ridiculous to some to be a grown man with posters on his wall and statues of Iron Man on the bookshelf, but for me, surrounding myself with science fiction, whatever form it comes in, is very freeing. Like, I'm never bored, and rarely sad or lonely. I have all these worlds to go to, all these characters that I love and have come to feel I know on a personal level. And as much as I hate to admit, I'm probably not going on any trips off planet anytime soon, so this is about as good as it gets. When you dig deeper, you get what is arguably the greatest science fiction story ever written. Frank Herbert's Dune. This sprawling space epic that's almost Shakespearean, feuding royal houses, backstabbing betrayals. Then you couple that with ferocious cave-dwelling tribes that live on a planet entirely made up of desert, will kill you for your body's water, and then ride giant worms 9,000 feet long. Like, who comes up with this stuff? Then you have something like Ridley Scott's Alien, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of science fiction. It has all the elements, the innocent crew of truck drivers that stumble upon this unknown horror that picks them off one by one. The survivor woman that foils the bad guy in the end. And on top of that, you have this legendary design crew. H.R. Giger, Dan O'Bannon, Ron Cobb. Just A-level production revolving around this super B-level story. It's genius. Of course, there's the one we all know. The bedtime story of sci-fi, as I like to call it. It's Star Wars. That classic fairy tale about good versus evil. The princess and the cowboy, the wise old wizards that live in isolation. It's nearly everyone's first real exposure to that world. It's so universal, and that's what makes it special. These stories are sugar-coated with spaceships and weird creatures, but they deal with very real themes like war, reproduction, gender roles, politics, all things we have to critically consider and discuss. It's also very important because it's been said by many authors that, as sci-fi writers, their real job is guesswork and prediction. You watch those old cheesy space shows and see that so much of what they built with cardboard and Christmas lights are things we actually have today, and we don't give it a second thought. I think I'm drawn to making science fiction films above any other genre because of just how many facets of art are required to realize them. What's so liberating is writing stories like this yourself. You get to create whole worlds with their own laws and ecosystems and life forms. It's like playing God in a way.